Casual Geographic just put out a video a couple days ago. You're gonna check it out. It's when animals lose their biggest fear. He just put this out 2 days ago. I am intrigued. And I'm wondering how much of this is going to be they've lost their fear of humans, so now they're no longer afraid to come and fuck up humans. This is what I'm curious about. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You think the government won't? They absolutely will. You remember that time the CIA tried to weaponize otters? To be fair, they tried it with a lot of animals, and when Central Intelligence initiated a program to basically turn animals into spies, otters were seen as the most qualified. And they're not wrong. Pretty privilege aside, it's a highly intelligent, tube-shaped, tool-using, brush-stroking honey badger that is every bit the predator. Someone said,
oh
give him a
jeez.
fedora, he could
Holy shit! The thing just took out a raccoon! Look at this! It's got it by the back of the
honey badger
fucking
that
neck!
is every bit the predator. Someone said, give him a
They're just like a horror movie creature, that fucking raccoon. God damn, Otter! You scary!
fedora, he could do a lot for you. Let's make otter agents, which led to the creation of the Otter Dossier. Side note, whatever they were planning apparently has something to do with MK Ultra. If you think they won't, the dossier highlights some otter flexes like being able to dive 60 feet and stay under more than 5 minutes, carry objects while swimming, and climb ladders. They also found that the aggressive Slinky can open zippers, turn on water taps, discreetly enter and exit boats, and even chew through a zinc sheet. I don't know how they found that. At one point they say, never take food from an otter or suffer severe mauling, and I just know the cost of that knowledge was some poor intern's finger.
Oh my fucking god! That... Then just tore this fucking crab's head off. Sis. Yeah. Holy crap. Look at this again. Look at it just ripping
take food
off.
from an otter or suffer severe mauling, and I just know the cost of that knowledge was some poor intern's fingers. There's some cool stuff too, like otters being ticklish at the ribs or babies having to be taught not to be afraid of water. You should definitely check it out for yourself. But there was one line that stood out, and it read like a prophecy. Capable of being trained and becomes devoted to humans, which can lead to their destruction. Whose destruction, you ask? Yes, this is the face of a threat to national security and a fugitive of the justice system. I'm not even kidding, but to get why this is an otter menace, we gotta go back to 2016. It's always 2016. A young female...
He's not wrong. I hate to say it, but he's not wrong. Everything's always goes back to 2016.
otter was found abandoned and orphaned and was rescued and rehabilitated by Monterey Bay Aquarium, and in 2017, Otter 723 was released back into the wilds of Santa Cruz. Researchers then got reports of a rogue otter swimming up to boats and kayaks, and sure enough, yeah, it was Lady 723. Apparently she'd been getting fish and squid handouts from local animal lovers, not realizing that being friendly with humans now meant the freeloading seafarer would never be fit for the wild, and she was captured and deemed unreleasable. But not before they realized 723 was getting attention from more than just people, cuz she was pregnant, and they weren't about to make the same mistake with her daughter, and would often wear masks and ponchos, you know, looking like they just raided Darth Vader's closet, all to make certain that she wouldn't get attached to humans. She got attached to humans.
Yeah, wait. What did they... Okay, these are supposed to be smart people. Otters are not strictly sight-based animals. They are also scent-based animals. Just because you're wearing dark clothing and a mask covering your face doesn't mean the otter's not going to go sniff, sniff. Human! Human giving me good stuff. Sniff, sniff. Yes, I recognize that scent. You smell like you smell like the creatures that gave me food. Fucking morons.
And a year after Daughter 841 was released, Monterey Bay started getting calls of a surfboard jacking otter. That's right, the same otter they tried so hard to keep away from humans was now going up to humans, and when I say boardjacking, it's exactly what it sounds like, and before you think she's playing, that's not a bite of play, that's a bite of purpose. Remember the zinc sheet.
Yep.
So after multiple calls of people sacrificing their boars to this water weasel, officials decided to capture her, but fun fact, an animal recruiter for the CIA is harder to catch than a cold in the Kalahari. They tried to relocate her from
Wait, what did that say?
Fun fact, an animal recruiter for the CIA is harder to catch than a cold in the Kalahari.
Yes, I know deserts get cold, but for the sake of alliteration, I will disregard that.
They tried to relocate her for months, but every time Outlaw Otter slipped away. She was on the run and swim, but she would have one more plot twist for everyone. Because after being MIA for a minute, 841 was spotted again, but this time with a pup. And because of that, officials gave up on trying to catch her and instead just tried to monitor the mother. Meaning, the board beef has been renewed for at least another generation. Jokes aside, this is a problem, because you know the second she bites someone, 841's becoming a forever 404. And otter jaws are built to humble clams and sea urchins, so it probably wouldn't feel good to get clamped by one. Or 8.
Chat. That's a motherfucking shark. This thing is eating a motherfucking shark. I don't care that it's a small shark compared to what we think of. That's still a motherfucking shark. You think it's a nurse shark? I thought nurse sharks were bigger than this. I'm trying to remember. I thought nurse sharks were like 2 to 3 times the size of this. I thought. Maybe I'm thinking wrong. Yeah, Dwayne, it's kissing the shark. We'll go with that.
Last September, a woman was jogging through Tanjung Aru Park in Sabah, Malaysia, when she was jumped by a pack of river otters. Keep in mind, these are the same assault sausages that can game over a gator. Maria Sela Harun was mauled for 10 minutes straight in what was the park's first known otter attack. And she was taken to the hospital with wounds, cuts, and like a certain CIA agent, a lifelong distrust of otters. The director of wildlife said that the otters had always been around and were never known to be aggressive, but he also said something interesting that I almost missed, that this sudden switch up could be caused by the ill-intentioned goodwill of people. But that was all the
Wait. News article. Must read.
I almost missed, that this sudden switch up could be caused by the ill-intentioned
Let's see. Rowan Oliver Nguyen, the director of Sabah's Wildlife Department, explained that the otters may have entered the park due to a depletion of food in the pond. He suggested the insect could have been triggered by changes in the otter's behavior, probably caused by park visitors feeding them. So they know that humans have food. And when humans do not give up food, otter gets very angry. Yeah, exactly, Redmond. Yeah, it's the So, I mean, all of this in case, and I'm sure Casual's going to bring this up. There is a fucking reason why you have so many signs up saying, do not feed the animals, do not feed the bears. It's because if you feed the wild animals, they will associate humans with a food source. And they will track the scent of humans. Because they know where human is, food is. And so that's why bears end up eating, bears and moose or deer, like all these wild animals end up in suburban areas because their local food source is depleted. And instead of doing the natural thing of migrating to a different location for a different food source, they go, oh right, those things that those things that smelled like that actually gave me food, and I didn't have to hunt. It was really easy. Let me track their scent, because God knows they're going to be easy to find. I'll get food from them. And where do they show up? In your fucking living room. So chat, don't feed the animals. It's a bad idea.
Goodwill of people. But that was all the way in Malaysia. You don't really have to worry about that over here. The same month, a river otter mauled a child and even dragged him underwater, except this time, it was in Seattle. Now, not to victim blame, but if there's infinite realities, then there's at least one where little Timmy had it coming. Who's to say these stories aren't just media plans from anti-otter propaganda?
Otter attacks child, drags him underwater. Is this all the same one? Yeah, it's all the same one. Child okay. Other cats would euthanize. Wildlife Department released a statement. Okay.
Maybe the otter's not being fairly represented. I'm not trying to spread misinformation, that'd be an otter travesty, which is why I'm working with Ground News. Ground News is an app and website created by a former NASA engineer who saw a very real problem with the way we consume information and how heavily it shapes our worldviews. She said, "I'll do it myself," and created a simple way to compare different perspectives and come to your own conclusion. Every day, Ground News collects thousands of articles from around the world and organizes them by story, so you can see how many outlets have covered a story, how factual they usually are, who owns the source, and you even get an overall bias distribution. I really like that part because it's easy to feel like everything has some kind of agenda. Like even the things you wouldn't think of as political are somehow political. Like wolves. Wolves are highly political animals and not just Blitzer. Obviously because of the whole wolf rancher beef. Well, here you can see that Colorado's looking to relocate a wolf pack blamed for livestock attacks was reported by 22 news outlets.
Feed bears.
Most of the reporting coming from the left. The left had
and the Cubs end up raiding. Oh god, yeah, well that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make, is where if you feed wild animals, they will show up at your fucking door. Because they associate you with food. And if you don't have food to give out, they're gonna find it because they know you got it.
You know what? That is a blind spot. Ground News gives you thousands of stories all across the political spectrum.
Intriguing. I never saw that one.
You might get from only ever hearing from one end. And it's really helpful for me since half my job involves sitting in front of a screen researching.
I mean, Gorthor? Here's the funny part. South Park and Simpsons have become the goddamn Nostradamuses of our generations. Think about it. How much has South Park and The Simpsons done in terms of their episodes that have been prophetic? It started with Simpsons, but South Park continued the trend.
And for Black Friday, they're offering all my viewers 50% off the same Ground News Vantage subscription plan I'm using. All the features included.
Oh yeah, Simpsons especially.
So go to groundnews.com/casualgeo, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description to subscribe for less than $5 a month. And once you do,
I mean, like, let's face it, a lot of popular media these days have predicted events. South Park and Simpsons, but also Idiocracy has predicted events. Demolition Man has predicted events. Like, popular media has been scarily accurate when it's come to things that have been predicted in real life. It kind of makes you wonder. Yeah, I know. Simpsons did it. Yes, I know. Wait, Simpsons is finally ending? And yes, Alex, The Simpsons did. It was in the episode where Lisa becomes president. It was like an anthology. Lisa becomes president, and she says, after the mess left by President Trump. That was the first words in the episode. Yes, so The Simpsons did predict it. But when is Simpsons due to end? I hadn't heard that they're ending it. Yeah, well, yeah, Merlin, yes, but that one's not quite. It's finally coming to... You know what, Rygat? The Simpsons been around for what? 30 years? No, sorry. Simpsons been around for like, what? 40 years? 45 years now? They've had a good fucking run. The Simpsons has had a good run. So, yeah.
By people, fed by people, and ultimately got too comfortable with people. Her daughter likely also got handouts from humans. And Maria Cela got jumped by an onslaught of otters in a park where people were likely already regularly feeding them. Now don't get me wrong, it's still a warmongering, waterproof Wolverine weaponizing the power of plurality. But it seems they don't really become a threat until they lose their fear of humans. You ever hear of human arrogance? Probably not, because I just made it up. Human arrogance is walking in a forest scared, whole time the forest is scared because you're in it walking. The whole, they're more afraid of you than you are of them, that's real, and it's scientifically proven. Some other
Yep.
bears will purposely raise their kids closer to humans, knowing the best male bear repellent is proximity to people. Jacob and Tibu were two lions that made a record-breaking 1-mile swim through croc and hippo-filled waters. I actually talked about it in the last video. What I didn't tell you was they both could have taken the much easier land bridge across, but that would have involved coming into contact with humans, and apparently they'd rather run the aquatic gauntlet in the dark than risk a run-in with a bipedal pale ape.
Shit. That's from a pair of lions who could easily. These are predators that could wreck a human with little to no effort. Went through like a death gauntlet just to avoid humans. That's fucking crazy to think about. And it almost begs the question, like, is it an irrational fear? Like, that's what I'm kind of curious about. Why do animals just have an instinctive fear of humans? It's not like this is like specifically a learned behavior. Animals have always had a fear of humans. Maybe it could be the unknown because they smell so much different. And maybe it's because the scent of humans is always mixed with machinery, which is repellent from a scent perspective. Thank you, Mannix, for the tier 3. Thank you. Well, Drysel, we are natural, but everything we surround ourselves with is not. And that's what I was alluding to. Like, the scent of humans is kind of blended with artificial. And maybe that's why it has to do with it. Artificial perfumes, there you go, Revan. Yeah, so I'm wondering if that may have something to do with it.
But, speaking of lions, it's scientifically proven that animals are more terrified of us than a literal 400-pound maned population control. In an experiment led by Professor Leanna Zanet, scientists planted hidden camera speakers near watering holes that would automatically get triggered every time an animal got close. Basically, they'd be recording different animals' reactions to the sound of lions versus people speaking the local tongue. And with lions preferring to ambush prey near watering holes, you'd expect a growl to send any creature running for the hills. Instead, 95% of the animals recorded were more afraid of the sound of humans than a stalking lion. Animals that included giraffes, impala, kudu, leopards, and even chronic lion Chutoy the hyena packed it up faster when they heard humans. The only animal that didn't was the literal biggest one alive with toenails. Even during dry season, animals typically evacuated 40% faster hearing humans compared to if it was a hypothetical predator. Because to a majority of animals, we are the predator. But to me, the craziest part of the experiment was the reveal that animals were more fearful of people just speaking than the sounds of literal gunshots and hunting dogs. Meaning it's gotten to the point where
Interesting. Huh. And, Band Plays Games, thank you for the follow. No, Mass Destruction, they were saying they were using the local dialect. It was just people speaking in the local dialect of the area. So, not German, I suspect it was because I'm thinking this took place in Africa, so the local dialect of whatever area in Africa they were located in. And so, I almost have to wonder, is it because okay, so like gunshots is just like a sound. They probably don't hear it very often. Dogs is another animal. So that might not actually scare them because it is literally another animal. Human voices, I'm guessing maybe because it sounds distinctly alien compared to everything else. Like, obviously animals hear one another out in the wild. Lions hear hyenas, hear zebras, hear giraffes, hear, whatever. No, and it does mass destruction. That was a key flaw in their experiment. Lions, when they attack, and especially with an ambush, they're dead silent. The big cats, like Hollywood, unfortunately, there's the Hollywoodization of this. a predatory cat is dead fucking silent until it's in the middle of its attack. That's the only time a predatory cat will make a sound, is in the middle of an attack, because for some big cats like tigers and lions, the use of the growl or the roar can actually be utilized as a weapon in the middle of an attack. It's basically a sonic attack. But it's used in conjunction with teeth and claws when the attack has already begun. So that's probably why a growling lion, the animals probably went, okay, Harry's in a mood again. Keep drinking, you were fine. The gunshots didn't register as, okay, Kanito, have a good, enjoy work. Gunshots, maybe they didn't, many of them were not exposed to gunfire, so they didn't think about it too much, or they didn't equate it with danger. But human voices, my guess is every time they heard human voices, it's always accompanying big, loud, stinking mechanical equipment, and that's why they took off. They actually associate human voices with this artificiality that is encroaching upon their territory. And they know that human voices usually precedes that. Maybe.
Where people see the mere presence of a human more threatening than the sounds of someone actually getting put on a shirt. So when an animal has zero fear of humans, something is very wrong, and it usually only has one outcome, and no one showed that more than Freya. Freya was actually a walrus, famous for appearing in Oslo Fjord, Norway, several hundred miles south of where you'd expect a giant Arctic blubber ball. She was the first walrus in the Netherlands in 23 years, and pictures would go viral of her lounging on and sometimes sinking boats. And with her being friendly enough to approach people, the walrus would become a national and then international figure and was given her name. But you already know we can't have nice things. Freya didn't fear humans, and unfortunately the feeling was mutual.
Oh god. Hang on.
You already know we can't have nice things. Freya didn't.
Right there. This you do not want to see. This is like those fucking people on I forget which beach it was. I cannot remember which beach it was, if it was on the west coast or the east coast, where they literally were dragging sea life, either sharks or dolphins or something, causing them I think it was, if I remember the story correctly, they were chasing these animals out of the water so they beach themselves, just so they could film themselves, quote unquote, rescuing the animal. And I distinctly remember one time hearing about a dolphin, I think that either a dolphin or shark or an animal that that did get beached, that they actually killed it. Trying to do this stupid heroics thing, they actually killed the poor animal that got beached. And it was similar to this. It was fucking 50 of them just surrounding it. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what it was they did, but the end result was the animal died because of fucking stupid people. So I see something like this, and I go, shit is about to go sideways in a very bad fucking way. Either these people are gonna hurt this poor animal, or this animal is gonna panic, and someone in here is getting fucked up.
Fear humans, and unfortunately the feeling was mutual, with crowds of people getting way too close to her, people trying to swim with her, and even at some point pelting stuff at her. Officials tried warning the public of, the health risks of playing with a 1,300-pound ship retiring tusk seal, but even after Freya literally chased a woman into water, of course nobody listened. Officials were banking on Freya leaving on her own, but she didn't, and neither did her crowd. In fact, it only got worse. So the night of August 12, 2022, 4 government officials patrolled the marina with a rifle, and by sunrise, Freya was... yeah. Now the situation's a lot more complicated than
Yeah, what the hell just... Okay, God, I didn't know I realized it did that. Let me rewind it. It was a whale? Okay, Gorf, I could not remember if it was shark, dolphin, or whale, but I do remember something. I do remember it was it was one of those three. I just couldn't remember which one.
Rise, Freya was, yeah. Now the situation's a lot more complicated than I just made it sound, so I do recommend checking out Kay Passionate's video on the matter. She's a friend of the channel, she actually works with walruses, and I feel like she's a little more qualified than, internet backwards hat guy. But if you're asking what I think, man, look, I want to see both sides, and I kind of do. Airdropping an aquatic animal, especially one the weight of a buffalo, especially when tranquilizing isn't even an option, is a lot harder than you think. There's a good chance to stress with a flatline Freya anyway. It would only take her bumping into a child once to turn both into a hashtag. But if you're really asking me, I don't think euthanasia should have been on the table. Anything would have been better.
No.
Like, worst comes to worst, hot take, if someone actively chooses to cozy up to a 1,000-pound half-evolved snow hippo and gets past tense in the process, you really can only charge it to Darwin. And I don't know if it's a sea puppy thing gone too far, but I do not know when people decided to stop taking seals and sea lions seriously. It's basically a rebranded beach bear. It really is like we went back to 2016 and...
Why would you let your fucking toddler play around on a fucking seal? Why would you do this? Why? Like, some of these parents need to have the fucking phone taken away, cause I guarantee you, this was done just so mommy and daddy could could get a really fun TikTok or take a fun Facebook photo. What the actual fuck? Jesus Christ. Like, these parents need to have a visit from their local law enforcement. Like, remember when we watched the video about the mom that got arrested because her kid walked a fucking mile down the street to go to the store and they arrested her for child abuse or child neglect? Where the fuck is the arrest for the parents that let their child do this? Because I guarantee mom and daddy are standing right there with their fucking phones out, taking pictures and videos going, this is gonna look great on TikTok. Or Instagram or Facebook, whatever fucking social media that they're using.
Branded beach bear. It really is like we went back to 2016 and harambeed ourselves all over again. And for being named after a Norse goddess, Freya got done nasty for a walrus whose only crime was trusting people. And now, all that's left of her is a statue named, fittingly, For Our Sins. So yeah, you probably couldn't tell, but the Freya stuff pissed me off. Especially since, I swear we're about to do it again. Neil is a southern elephant seal that went viral for being an adorable menace to the people of Hobart, Tasmania. Neil's lore is his mom likely got lost, and instead of having him on Macquarie Island with a colony of other seals, instead he spawned nearly 1,000 miles away on the Tasman Peninsula. Two big problems: one, this meant Neil would be hardwired to return to the same beach on Salem Bay, and two, with a distinct lack of other seals, Neil would interact with anything that moved, including people, dogs, and even cars, which meant Neil had absolutely zero fear of people. One woman even had to call out of work after Neil fell asleep in front of her car and literally sealed her in her own house. And with southern elephant seals maxing out at nearly 20 feet long and over 8,000 pounds, it's one of those things that's going to be real cute until it isn't. And like clockwork, there's already reports of children harassing Neil, as well as people violating his space for selfies. It's gotten to the point...
Yeah, social media is a fucking curse. There's no getting around it anymore. Social media is a fucking curse upon humanity. And by social media, bearing in mind, I'm not talking about like YouTube and streaming services like Twitch. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the extreme short form content. I'm talking about TikTok. I'm talking about Twitter. I'm talking about Facebook. That has become an absolute fucking curse on humanity because people will actively do the dumbest shit to get clout on those specific social media platforms. Like harassing wild animals. It literally is bringing out all of bad behavior for humanity. Because think about it, chat. I'm not saying that this happens with you guys, but how often is someone that you know where they might be talking about something that that happened with them, some event that happened with them, and is one of the things that they say, I wish I'd got my phone out so I could have taken a picture of it, or I wish I'd got my phone out so I could take a video of it. that shouldn't enter, that should not be the first, second, or even third thought that kicks into your mind when something significant happens like that. Like encountering an animal, like a wild animal like this, where you're gonna be like abusing it. Like, break up the phone, we're gonna fuck with this animal so we can get clicks on Twitter or TikTok. Like, it's sad how sons with cameras have basically created an ever-present zeitgeist where it's everybody's first reaction to something these days, whip out the phone. Literally every fucking first reaction is whip out the phone. Somebody's hurt. You see a car crash. A person is screaming for help. You see an animal that kids or people are fucking with. Etc., ad nauseum. The first thing that people do, their instinctive reaction now, break out the phone. Whip out the phone and start the camera. That learned behavior is becoming the downfall of humanity. Because by that being the predominant learned behavior in times of crisis, we are losing our humanity. We are no longer about being people. We're about basically becoming biological recording devices. We are, and that's you're not being human anymore when you do that. That's the direction that we're headed.
Point where officials are begging the public to leave him alone, to not post him or share his whereabouts, basically gatekeeping the seal, and some of that might be on me. I literally talked about Neil earlier this year in a video with millions of views putting his name out. Now there's a chance Neil gets loved to death by the same people he trusted. So yeah, losing the fear of people can be a death
You were
sentence
trying
for an
to do it
animal,
for
but
good
some
cause.
species, it got them erased. The Caribbean monk seal went extinct in the 50s after being hunted into oblivion, and their biggest downfall was their distinct lack of fear and curiosity towards people. Columbus even noted how weirdly chill they were, and for that, they got slaughtered. The dodo is a plus-size fish in the past that also got decimated by sailors, because evolving on an island with no predators meant they had no concept of self-defense. They were cooked.
Wait. Fun fact, this logic is why penguins have zero fear of humans.
On an island with no predators meant they had no concept of self-defense. They were cooked. The great auk, which isn't a penguin, also famously had no fear of humans, and after going from 6 million in numbers to nothing in about 300 something years, yeah, we gave them every reason to. There was even an account of 2 ships murking 1,000 auks in only half an hour. And believe it or not, it's still happening. The harpy eagle is a popular target for poachers since they'll often just sit on a perch and let them approach. Also, being big enough to be confused for a fursona means some people will just shoot it out of curiosity. So yeah, animals need to be afraid of humans. But what can you do about that? Well, quick pop quiz. You're being stared down by a coyote. Should you A, make yourself look bigger, B, spray him with water, C, cause an absolute fucking scene, or D, put the fear of God in Wiley? Well, if you picked any one of these, you're wrong. It's actually E. Yes. You see, in college, hazing is something that gets fraternities shut down. In the wild, hazing is scaring an animal enough to factory reset its behavior and make it want to avoid anything human. Obviously, there are exceptions, like if the coyote's hurt.
Wait. Hang on.
In the wild, hazing.
If aggressively haze coyotes, just stop, make yourself look big, announce yourself, shout, repeat reinforcement, teach someone else how to haze a coyote. Huh. Okay. Makes sense.
Hazing is scaring an animal enough to factory reset its behavior and make it want to avoid anything human. Obviously, there are exceptions, like if the coyote's hurt, sick, or with kids, then you want to fall back because they might just call your bluff. It's not to hurt them, quite the opposite. Making them prejudiced towards people is the nicest thing you could do for them. Because when you feed a wild animal, you're almost certainly marking them for death. And sometimes it's not just theirs. Okay, let's do this one last time. Baboons in Cape Town have gotten bold enough to mug women and children, break into houses,
I've heard about
and
this.
even commit carjackings. And the most likely reason was tourists kept feeding baboons until not only they became habituated with people, after associating humans with food, they started demanding it. And like with 841, this is the other.
What did I say? What did I say at the beginning of this video? If you feed an animal, it will associate you with food. It's gonna come find you when its food source is scarce, and if you don't give it to them, they'll happily take it from you. I said that at the very beginning of this video.
Side of forgetting the fear of humans, and baboons might not even be the worst offenders. Macaques in India have been living alongside humans for centuries, and not only do they get the
Fair
benefit
enough,
of easy
Emperor.
food, the monkeys are also revered in Hinduism. But then you had the same issue of expectations leading to aggression, except the monkeys took it a step further. These monkeys are master pickpockets that are smart enough to recognize items of value, snatch them, and then use them as ransom, and negotiating food is the only way you get your stuff back. The smartest ones will even give your stuff back one at a time just to maximize profit. But you know,
Wow.
brute force works
Got it. Don't indulge the kitty.
Thor.
too. In 2007, the mayor of Delhi was attacked by a group of monkeys and pushed off his terrace to his death. Ironically, the only thing the macaques are afraid of is an even bigger monkey called a langur, and since owning them as pets is illegal, yep, your eyes are correct. Delhi's parliament actually hired men to cosplay as giant marauding monkeys to scare the real monkeys straight. So yeah, I'll die on the hill that feeding wild animals is killing them softly, and I would know, because I did it once. When I was 10, I started feeding squirrels at a local park, and there was one in particular that really appreciated it, to the point where he'd come up to me even when I was empty-handed. I either named him Tyler or Tyrone, I genuinely don't remember. Well, one day Ty just would not stop following me, no matter where or how far I went. This rodent panhandler was on me like a homing pigeon. It was to the point where he was following me all the way home, and I wasn't allowed to have pets, and I damn sure wasn't allowed to bring pretty privileged rats off the street, so what did I do? I took a nut, launched it, it bounced off a reservoir. I live next to a reservoir, by the way. It landed in the street, my guy Ty followed, and as you can guess, the story ended with one less squirrel. I was not okay for a while. And don't worry, I get my karma later in life when I got jumped by a pack of squirrels in the middle of New York for half a peanut butter sandwich. And yes, every word of that was true. Like an idiot, I fed 1, 1 turned to 2, 2 became 6, 6 spawned 12, and that is unironically the most I've ever been afraid of 12. So what's the moral here? What can be killed with hate can also be smothered by love, that animals are best appreciated from a distance, that the CIA created weapons of utter destruction? Nah. How about leave these seals the f alone? But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Drink water, hug your mother, touch grass, call your brother. If something happens to Neil, I'ma really show y'all a crash out. And I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Oh god, but they're so cute! It's so cute! Oh my god, he's so cute! Like, I understand why, but no. I do understand why. Like with those otters, they're so fucking cute. But no, you can't, because if you do, you see what happens. Yeah. Like, if you want to just, like, observe.
Does that mean feeding a cat girl will have her follow me home? Just asking. For science. Cheer 100.
Experimentation may be required to determine a possible outcome, Atamashi. I think we need to set up some very extensive controlled experiments. For science, of course.